we have seen that the current crisis, it has brought the financial health of the economy to its knees. Pivot and innovate seem to be the answer for many Indian businesses to survive such bleak times. As Indian businesses slowly recover, we will see India try to become a hub for the global supply chain, but this will come with its fair share of challenges, opportunities, and questions. At present, there are many questions but few answers. To make sense of all of this and to give us direction and wisdom on what the future holds for boosting local industries, we have with us today a special guest and a fantastic speaker to deliver the keynote address. Please welcome Samir Modi, Managing Director of Modi Enterprises. Samir Modi, who has an immense wealth of experience in the Indian business world, strongly believes that the only way to succeed in a developing nation like India is through its economic independence, and there lies the freedom to realize dreams. Following this belief at the age of 25, he launched India's first direct selling company, Modi Care. Today, Modi Care is one of the fastest growing direct selling companies in India and is changing the lives of common Indians through the Modi Care Azadi movement that is being joined by over 100,000 people every month. Samir established Calabar Cosmetics in 2004 to match steps with international brands. Today, it is the third largest cosmetic brand in an industry dominated by international giants. Another brainchild of Samir Modi is the 24/7 convenience stores. India's first of its kind round-the-clock chain launched in 2005. It has now over 90 stores in Delhi NCR and Chandigarh. Samir, thank you for joining us. We look forward to listening to you. Over to you.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope all of you are safe and sound and are not accepted the new normal. It is my utmost pleasure to be speaking with you today to share my thoughts on a few learnings. Thank you, Your Story, for the invitation to the grand finale of the MSME week. Steve Jobs, who I admire, had said, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition to somehow know what you truly want to become. Now, you might be aware that I lead three very distinct and diverse brands: 24/7, the round-the-clock convenience store; Calabar Cosmetics, a leading player in the beauty space; and Modi Care Limited, a special one to my heart. When I started Modi Care, the aim was to provide Azadi to everyone with a dream. It is a direct selling company with a network of over 40 lakh consultants today. Looking back, I remember when I was working in the United States, after completing my studies, it struck me that Indians ran pretty much every venture or industry space, whether it was Silicon Valley or Wall Street. The success of Indians worldwide amazed me as a youngster who was keen to make a mark. Now cut back home, where I saw huge contradictions to success here in India. While Indians were attaining success worldwide, there were numerous Indians struggling and sometimes giving up on the dream in their own country. I wondered what created this divide, and the answer was obvious: opportunity. From there on, at the age of 25, I still believe that I am 25 today. I started to work on an idea, the idea of financial freedom. I knew there was something that I was driven toward. This is the time when I had my first interaction with direct selling. I met and interacted with consultants and distributors of many companies, and I was amazed and inspired by the stories. I was struck by the diverse melange of people that the model allowed engagement with, from white-collar professionals to blue-collar workers to students, housewives, and entrepreneurs. All these stories reinforced one notion in my head: that direct selling had allowed them to be financially independent and secure, allowing them to pursue their dreams. Financial freedom had truly made and given them Azadi. So I decided to test the waters myself and take a straight dive into the world of direct selling. As I became a consultant for many direct selling companies in countries like Japan, Australia, Hong Kong, Thailand, the US, and the UK, I learned about their products and what made them successful. And then came back to India to use this very knowledge I had gathered. I hired the best of talent to create world-class products and a structure that would let people fulfill their dream and be free and experience Azadi. I launched Modi Care in 1996, the first center in West Delhi. Today, we are a stable, flourishing business, and the rest of the say is history. A very proud part of my history. We all know and understand that COVID-19 crisis is indeed a global pandemic that has changed the world It is a global health crisis of our time and greatest humanitarian challenge. This has started to spread like wildfire. A number of cases rising daily. As the government continues to work toward managing this situation through lockdowns and unlocks, this pandemic has affected everyone professionally and personally too. For me, I have had to reset my professional and my personal life to adapt to a new normal. We have moved quickly to arrest spread of the virus. Not only it has taken an unprecedented toll on people's health, but also the economy of the country. Several industries began to suffer. Some saw permanent shutdown, huge losses, and some had to make extremely tough and unpleasant decisions like letting go of employees or even announcing high salary cuts. I have also went through my own share of pain and pressure as a business leader. Having said this, I go back to my own mantra, Soj badlo, khud ko badlo, dunya badlo. My biggest strength at all times, and when at something that has set grounds for me to do what needs to be done. Eventually, one needs in any tough situation is a window and a ray of hope that helps you find pragmatic solutions to the most profound problem. Obviously, most often than not, it's only you who have to find ways, and others can only be the catalyst. Looking at the industries that have suffered the most, hospitality, aviation, auto, realty, and textile were the top ones to take the hit. As per research done by UNIDO, in several sectors, including automated components, MSMEs have already experienced a pre-lockdown decline in business due to a stagnating economy, market demand, the disruption of international supply chains, and the lockdown of China. The disruption of flow of materials and goods is having negative implication on all other aspects of business, in particular an abrupt end to the incoming cash flows and the migration of the workforce across skills levels have not made it easy. Our acceptance helped to change the situation. We need to adapt and revise the way we work or conduct business. There are many examples that I can give, but one example is our company that used the current state of affairs as an opportunity to innovate in Bangalore-based co-working space Workshala. They aptly came up with the Homescape initiative that meant offering bespoke home office furniture for employees so they were efficient and productive in the comfort of their homes. I used to really depend a lot on physical presence, as I thought the most efficient way to close things was sit together. But now I'm equally comfortable with video calls and working from home. For me, working from home and video meeting are sure the best solution given in the present context. Companies like Microsoft and Google have advised their workforce to work from home because it is a tremendously cost-effective way of running business. Similarly, leading skincare brand Cabin Care have taken a decision of renting a 50,000 square feet HQ and other spaces as there was no immediate or planned need to use it amongst the pandemic. When it comes to product management, MSMEs need to reinvent themselves to tap into the newer opportunities that are available at present. There is a possibility, a need to change the line of business and address the need want of consumers in present times. Some have got down to focus on PPEs, some on extra sanitization, contactless delivery, local manufacturing, and they are poised to gain more traction. Who would have thought that my company, a cosmetics company, Karabar, will make hand sanitizers? I would not have imagined this 3 months ago, but here I am today, doing the unimagined. Due to the sudden rise in demand of hygiene products, even luxury beauty brands like Givenchy, Christian Dior have taken a lead in manufacturing sanitizers. Brands like Prada and Louis Vuitton have set foot in the face mask market. The retailers are learning to be flexible due to shifting consumer behavior in the wake of the crisis, and so have we. 24/7, the only round-the-clock convenience store had temporarily operated at 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. store with a limited workforce. Actually, our workforce of 2,500 was reduced to 500. And today, we had to manage all our 90 stores to meet the demand. Today, we are slowly opening to become 24 hours, and we adapted to this new line of work: online orders, home deliveries, contactless deliveries, and venturing into new product formats too. I think it's time to rethink and think of strategies that can revive revenue of the business within a short span of time. I have adapted from zero budgeting to digitization as I anticipate a big shift towards online shopping. Focusing on these three aspects will give us the right strategy to rise and shine together. Managing short-term disruption, catering to medium-term needs, and planning for long-term changes. While small businesses are adapting to new normal, simultaneously the government took necessary steps to improve the state of affairs by providing liquidity support worth 3.7 trillion rupees to the MSCs with an emphasis on vocal for local, made in India, and Atma Nirbhar Bharat programs. A special economic package worth 20 lakh crore has been released to the benefit of cottage industry, MSMEs, and the workforce and the middle class. Despite all this, the strengthening of even revival of MSMEs will need more than just government push. But there, it is not the game, it is not the era of the big versus small, big data against small data. But today I feel it is a game between the fast versus slow. It is those who are faster to reinvent and agile enough to change course toward the need of the market will survive and win in the lockdown. The MSMEs here have a distinct advantage vis-a-vis large corporates because of their way of being agile. There is a merit in understanding the monitoring what demand will come out of the lockdown era, the stay-at-home era, and create strategies to help us and give strategies to help us. The scope is vast, and this is how we can adapt to the new normal. It is about offline to online. Everything has been judicious spending and everything hygienic. Our taxing business, Modi Care, is the future and one of the most resilient ones. We have seen a tremendous rise in number of joining us. In fact, there's about 10,000 people joining daily in our business. The slowing down of the economy, pay cuts and loss of jobs, this business model today and the career opportunity is more relevant than ever. Modi Care and the consultants of Modi Care have embraced technology to teach consultants about products, teach the consultants about the business, and as opposed to physical meeting, which has helped them to grow even during challenging times. Needless to say, these initiatives coupled with innovative business solutions have helped them maintain a great business momentum. To sum it all, I think leaders must see opportunities everywhere, and in my opinion, a crisis gives a leader the best opportunity to leverage existing capabilities and skill sets, overcome obstacles, and help people and businesses to be stronger than ever. A crisis is a runway of success. We look closely and are resourceful, efficient, and fast. Leaders are born out of such unexpected times, born to contribute to larger good of scaling economies in the longer run. We should think about tomorrow, we should think out of the box, and forever believe that innovation is the key to all things great. All is possible अगर हम सोच बदलें, खुद को बदलें ताकि दुनिया बदले. इसलिए in the end I would say सोचो मत, बस बदलो. Thank you for your patience. Wish you a great day ahead, and may we all come out stronger and better. Amen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Modi. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Moving on, our next session, we have some great new age consumer brands. They are making a big splash with their direct-to-consumer technology strategy. The D2C strategy, it is fast becoming a popular route for manufacturers and consumer packaged goods brands to enter the market directly instead of through a middle entity. The benefits of going direct to consumer are many, but to name a few, going D2C eliminates the barrier between the producer and the consumer, giving the producer greater control over its brand, reputation, marketing, and sales tactics. Plus, it helps the producer directly engage and learn from their customers. Big name brands have already taken the leap with D2C marketing and D2C selling campaigns, and we are anticipating that more manufacturers will do that in 2020 and beyond. While the barrier to enter the fray as a startup D2C brand are relatively low, you have to remember that you're competing in a tough market dynamic against some established players. This is why it is crucial for you to have a strategy in place that will help you become a distinguished brand and disrupt the status quo. The MSME Week series aims to explore and highlight the ways in which MSMEs can power business relevance, opportunity, continuity, and growth opportunity in this current dynamic. So for this session, we have a fantastic panel who are the brands of entrepreneurs of brands who are at the foremost of the forefront of D2C action in their business. May I please welcome Mr. K. Vaitishwaran, co-founder of Again Drinks, Karan Chowdhury, co-founder Fit and Glow Healthcare or Wow Skin Brands, Varun Alak, co-founder of Mama Earth, and Maulik Mistry, co-founder of Pure Snacks Limited. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Let me also just take this opportunity to give a big shout out to our sponsors, credit empowerment partner, Civil, India's first credit information company, and Dell Technologies, our associate sponsor. Thank you so much for being on board with us. So, gentlemen, my first question is a general question on on your playbook, on your D2C playbook. What strategies have worked for you? Maybe we can start with Varun. Varun, what has been your strategy in terms of taking this D2C route?
Hi everyone. So I think I wouldn't say for us there has been any change due to COVID. Our strategy from day one was to go digital first. And it was more born out of the need and feel that the kind of consumer we are trying to reach out to, the kind of audience that we are trying to appeal to was largely digitally connected. Right? And the more media data we saw, we realized that they were spending more time on the small screen than on the large screen. Mm. And for a young brand, that's actually an advantage, right? I've spent 11 years in FMCG industry managing large brands like Coca-Cola, where we've largely done television advertising. And but when you're a young brand, your budgets are also limited, but you're still competing for share of mind with the large biggies. Right? So digital offers a democratic media, right? Where it doesn't matter how large or small you are, right? If you want to reach out to a certain audience cohort, right? The bid that you get or the ad that you can get, right, and the cost to reach out to that specific consumer will always largely remain the same, right, for a large company as well as for a young brand. And so I think that is what was there at the back of our mind. And secondly, of course, we were trying to reach out to a certain evolved audience and with a targeted message. And which is where digital media was really helpful. We could create specific cohorts and reach out to them. I think the third place where digital media has been really helpful is finally all brand building is about storytelling, right? And it's about taking your story and ensuring that more and more of your consumers become your advocates and tell that story onwards. Right? For us, we had a very strong story around our brand, around the proposition of our brand, and around why we were doing what we were doing. Right? And digital ecosystem, including ecosystem like influencers, Instagrammers, right, communities on social, were a great place where we found people who were willing to take our story and sort of spread it forward. Right? And that's how the strongest brands are sort of formed. Right? So I think digital has also helped us achieve that. Right? Those three is what I would say are the biggest advantages that a young brand has today, which did not exist 10 years back. I mean, 10 years back, if you wanted to market, you needed to use either a print or a radio, or if you were small, you would think about putting some inserts in a newspaper and sort of doing that. Right? But you were never sure if it is reaching out to the right audience. And the message was also largely diluted because they were static in nature. Right? Now you can actually create video messages through which you tell your story better and reach out to the right audiences, even if it's 100 people that you want to reach out to start with. And so I think that democracy of media is what it's been able to provide.
Yeah, thanks Varun for that. I'll come to Maulik here. Maulik, you started the Mojo Bar is the brand that you started, and you when it was not, it was offline, right? You were not online from day go. Tell us how you are transitioning now, and tell us what were the challenges and opportunities that you saw in this.
Sure. So, hello everyone. I am Maulik, and I'm one of the co-founders of Pure Snacks, and we make healthy snacking products without compromising on taste. And I, coming from a Nestle background, I always thought that consumers are offline. When you look at research reports, when you look at the offline segmented market, it's much bigger than the online market. So we went offline first, but slowly and steadily, about 6 months back is when we really started realizing that the online space for us is heating up, and we feel that we should have a presence in this D2C market. So we've been running a pilot. In fact, post COVID, we never sold on our own website. We always used someone like an Amazon to do our sales. But about 30 days into COVID is when we started selling on our own website. So far, things look good. So we are actually doing a pilot. For us, this is a completely new territory. And we're trying everything and anything to make a presence here right now.
Thanks, Maulik. We'll come to more on that on your strategy little later in this panel. May I please ask Mr. Vaitishwaran here? Vaitishwaran, you are an entrepreneur who's seen everything, who's seen so many different challenges and different crises in your entire journey. And you again started out with this new consumer brand, again drinks. Tell us a little bit about what prompted you to get into this, and how are you looking at taking advantage of this D2C strategy?
Okay, so thanks for having me here, first of all, and pleasure being with you always. So Deepti, if you see my background, I'm quite clueless about FMCG. I have no idea about food. I had no idea about beverages. And, one of the things that attracted me to this is really 2 points. One is the fact that we sensed an opportunity to truly create and develop healthy beverages that are not there in the market. We did some research, and we realized that, we came to know that the US Department of Agriculture lists 5 different food groups as essential for the human body, which is dairy, fruits, vegetables, proteins, and grains. And when we did some research, we realized that nobody was offering beverages with all of them. They were only taking parts of it. So we said, can we put all of them and start a beverage, which in itself was a big thing. And then any beverage that you see in the market is either has refined sugar or requires chilling and or has limited shelf life or use a preservative. So we said we want to build something that has no sugar, no preservative, no color, no flavor, yet it is ambient, does not require refrigeration, and has 90-day shelf life. One of the advantages and the disadvantages we had is we were clueless about this business. So we put all these conditions and then went and met a bunch of people who said this can't be done. And that's when I got excited, because I asked people, why is it that it can't be done? And the answer that was given to me by people, and these were people with significant experience in beverages and dairy globally, big, large companies, massive brands. And they all said it's never been done. It can't be done because it's never been done before. And to me, that's never a good reason for an entrepreneur. You can't go to an entrepreneur and say it's never been done before, and therefore it can't be done. So that's when I personally got excited, said, look, if it's never been done before, then it's worth doing it well. Let's try it. And we spent about 2 years working with a whole lot of institutions, test laboratories, massive failures initially, but finally we managed to launch beverages that ticks every single box. In fact, we've just gone and filed some patents for it as well. So in that sense, it's been a massive, and I think one of the things that helped us is the fact that we were clueless about this. So we had no baggage. Sometimes what happens, you start by saying it can't be done because you've got experience, some experience can work against you. To me, that was a big thing that worked for us. As far as the what's happening with the business, we started off slowly. We're only in Bangalore, just as new brand with trying to sell beverages. We we took a approach that is very different from the theme that you're discussing, which is direct to customer. We actually said we will not go direct to customer. And the reason we said we will not go is, so let me just quickly tell, I think one of the reasons, and obviously going direct to consumer has significant advantages, especially for new brands, because cost is a massive element and getting onto retailer shelves is a challenge. One, because they want to carry only fast moving products. And second, even if they agree to carry your product, which itself is a hard work, you have to make significant payments simply to be on the shelf. And startups cannot afford that. So it makes sense to go direct to consumer, but given the fact that we came with significant connections, networks in the retail industry, we said we'll try and reverse this and see if we can actually not go direct to consumer and be on the shelves. So right from the time we launched in January 2019 till March 2020, we've only gone primarily offline retail and of course online retail like Big Baskets and Amazons and Grofers of the world, but mostly offline retail, a strategy which would be very different, uniquely different from most new startup consumer brands, because everybody will go direct to consumer. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you read it, the lockdown caught us by surprise. Essentially, what happened is our business, which is growing steadily, on March 20th became zero. Absolutely came to a grinding halt because the offline retailers shut. Nobody was going to any store. All the stores were deserted. And the online retailers suddenly knocked us off from their catalog, saying we're only selling the top 1,000 SKUs, which means a product that was growing steadily became zero. We were stuck with inventory and we didn't know what to do. So in a period of about 3 weeks, we quickly changed strategy and said it's time to go direct to consumer. And we quickly launched WhatsApp ordering. We didn't take the e-commerce route because we said if we're doing it, we might as well do WhatsApp ordering. So we launched WhatsApp ordering. In fact, e-commerce site is now being built. Typically, you'd think we'll go e-commerce, but we went the other way around. And obviously now we're going to back it up and follow it up with a whole lot of digital support. So in a sense, our journey and entry into the direct-to-consumer world has been very different from what you would expect from.
Yeah, interesting. Karan, coming to you, you had always, online first, right, with your brand. And just tell us a little bit about what the thought process was on building this WOW brand.
It's an honor, it's a pleasure, and congratulations to everyone here to be a part of a beautiful journey called D2C. We did not have too much. We came in 2014 to try to solve customer needs and try to provide better products to our customers. And we as a brand and we as founders have always been obsessed about first of all product and secondly customers. Let me start off by sharing you an example. We started off in 2015 where we were quite obsessed about a product which was called the apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar was a product which was not manufactured in scale in India. It was mainly imported by another brand which was called Bragg's, and it was manufactured in the US and consumed in India. We as a brand and we felt that we wanted to offer a great quality apple cider vinegar for our Indian consumers, which was proudly made in India. And that is when we actually decided to launch one of India's best apple cider vinegar, which is called the WOW Life Science Apple Cider Vinegar Drink. Over the period of time, once we launched it out on multiple marketplaces, we started getting obsessed about customers. We started understanding what customers were talking about, whether they liked the product, whether they liked the packaging, what were they using the product for, was it being used for them just feeling energetic in a day, or whether they were using it for the hair, for the skin. And we saw a lot of customers coming back to us and telling us that, hey, apple cider vinegar for your hair. Can you use it in your shampoo? I heard it's really good for your hair. And that is when we decided that, why does a customer actually need to buy a health drink, which is an apple cider vinegar, and put it into a shampoo? Why don't you actually try to combine both and solve a customer's problem? Because at the end of the day, we got obsessed in trying to solve a customer's problem. And that is when we launched something which is called the WOW Skin Science Apple Cider Vinegar Shampoo. We launched it in the year 2016 mid. I think we are actually sitting in 2020. In 2020, and it's been one of the top selling hair care products online on all the marketplaces. Also, it is one of the top selling shampoos in the US market currently. So this brand started not about trying to challenge any of the big FMCG players. It started with the logic of trying to offer a great made in India product for our Indian consumers and trying to connect a lot better with our with all of our customers to understand a lot better, to improve products a lot better, and to provide better solution for our customers.
So, Karan, my next round of questions, and I'll just start with you. Is any consumer brand, you have manufacturing, you have the supply chain, you have distribution. So, what is your strategy in all these three things? How are you looking at manufacturing? How are you looking at supply chain, distribution, while at the same time taking care that your brand, the product, it remains good and is even though you're doing it from a third party manufacturing?
So I think loyalty matters a lot, and backing people who have been with you for the longest time from start till the end matters a lot. If we wanted as a brand to be a 3 times bigger company, I think we could have easily been a 3 times bigger company, but we have not chosen the growth strategy. We have not been obsessed about growth, but we have been very obsessed about providing a great quality product to our customers and doing the growth the correct way. Growth will come to you as long as you are good with your basics. Loyalty has been a very, very important part of our entire strategy, and we like to work with people who we are associated to work with. For us, we completely know that we could do growth whenever it is, but the journey, how you reach that place where we want to actually be, is a very important part of it. So working with partners have been a very, very important strategy of ours, which has paid up very well. We have been expanding our current manufacturing 6 times over, because right now, as you're aware, COVID has come. Things have been extremely hard overnight, but the good thing about it is, and there are lots of other panelists also on this particular channel. We are all hitting all-time highs. The D2C community is doing extremely great during this COVID times because consumer behavior has changed. People are buying online. There is a demand surge which is around. People are looking toward these brands which are trustworthy, and the core products, the hero products, are firing in all cylinders. So we have been increasing manufacturing 6 times over. The problem right now, what's been happening is distribution has been a significant challenge at this moment because as you are aware, there's a lot of logistics movement issue, there's RM issues, there's PM issues, but that is getting solved. So in short, we have been, while there are third-party manufacturers, which is a very, very significant part of our business, it is loyal third-party manufacturers who we would like to continue with down the line, and grow with them is our strategy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karan. Maulik, coming to you, what has been your manufacturing and distribution and supply chain strategy, and now how are you seeing the difference play out?
Sure. So we, like I said, pre-COVID were 85 to 90% B2B. So we used to sell to retailers and distributors, and we had a whole supply chain build up, primarily west and south of India. For us, we were very clear from the beginning that you can't focus on having your own manufacturing plant and also try to build a brand. So we went the contract manufacturing route, and we started working with partners. And I think, like Karan said, you need a lot of trust when you're working with someone who's going to make your product. That trust only comes with time. So I think in the beginning, we've had one of our co-founders sleep at the factory, be there all the time. And I think over a period of time, we have worked with each other to understand that, listen, this is acceptable and this is not acceptable. Because for most brands, and I think like the other gentleman was saying on the panel, that we're always questioning status quo, right? We're going to food technologists and saying, hey, why can't this happen? I had the same problem with my product. I went to a food technologist and he was like, you have to put preservative in the product. And I said, but all my research says that customers don't want that. So I think for us with manufacturing, we chose the contract manufacturing route. And I think with time, we've developed a good relationship with our manufacturer. So they take care of that. When it comes to distribution, it's same. It's very B2B, right? So with some distributors, we get along and business has been thriving. with some we don't. So yeah, there is this whole angle of working with people that you enjoy working with, building relationships. I think that is the key I have learned in the last 4 to 5 years, that business will come, business will go, but it's these relationships that matter. And same applies to D2C. The thing with D2C, what we're learning is that we're learning a lot about little nuances of our product because we're directly talking to customers. And we've removed that middle layer now. So we are not getting a filtered message. We're getting a direct message from the customers. So something simple as, if a customer is really annoyed, I am picking up the phone, talking to the customer. So they feel like, okay, I can trust this brand and not go to an Amazon to buy this product. I can really trust these guys and I can buy the product from their website. So yeah, I think the moral really lies around building a good team, having people who can make decisions for you, and building an ecosystem that's sort of foolproof, where everybody is helping you for the right cause and understanding what your product really stands for.
Yeah, yeah. Varun, so as Maulik said, I mean, this customer feedback, do you think it also kind of helps you innovate in your products? Like, what has been your experience in terms of, getting that feedback directly with the consumer, and of course, your manufacturing and supply chain distribution?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the closer you are to the consumer, the more bang on and on trend your innovations will be, is what we have believed from day one. In fact, we have got this panel of advocates, which is like a 500 large now, used to be about 25 when we started the business. These are consumers who are very close to the brand, and they actually participate in ideation processes, in concept testing processes, in we have random discussions around what are the trends, what are the DIYs that they're doing, and at home, what are the ingredients they're looking for, what are the categories they're picking up more on, and from those conversations, a lot of our innovation funnel gets driven, and we as an organization, in fact, what Maulik said. In the early on, it was actually out of sheer necessity that we were talking to almost every consumer who were buying from our website. Hey, how did you get to know about us? What did you buy? How was your experience, etc. But even now, when we have grown to like a 200 people organization, we're still, we have this process called KYC, which is know your consumers, right? And each and every a member, each and every employee of the organization calls 20 to 25 different consumers every quarter and talks to them, understands what's working for them, what's the feedback that they want to sort of give to us. And we collect that. We have a special town hall where we discuss all of that, pull out learnings, and every function has its learnings which get pulled out. So it's not just innovation on the product front, right? But innovation on the packaging front, innovation on the delivery front, innovation on what kind of mediums are working in terms of communication with them, and innovations on are they happy with the packaging in which we are delivering the products, the boxes that we send to them, and feedback on our supply partners, our logistic partners, right? So I mean, on all fronts and every part of the function, and gets feedback basis which they can improve the experience that we provide to the consumer. So I think feedback is super critical, and it's been a core part of the business. And, from a manufacturing perspective, I think more and more one of the principles that we have followed and continue to follow is own the core, outsource the rest. Right? We believe there are certain competencies in this business, right, which are clearly strategic competencies, and out of that, as in the supply chain, we believe the strategic competency is actually R&D and innovation. And so we have a full-fledged lab of our own. We have R&D scientists. We prototype our own products. And but outside of that, and we have got QC teams, etc. But then taking it from there and technology transfer to manufacturer, the actual process of manufacturing is actually purely labor intensive, and we don't find that to be something where we have any strength or we would want to build. But there are other partners out there who have clearly built strong, deep strengths in that. And and we would rather use that ecosystem, right? The way, for example, in logistics, you would rather go to a delivery and not put your own vehicles, right? So that's the principle that we have chosen to follow, and that's a principle which even large FMCGs continue to follow. Most of them have more than 50% of their manufacturing being done at contract manufacturing counterparts, but with strong processes where they own that process. So I think that is the direction that we have sort of chosen.
Vaiti, just coming to you, do you think that you said now that you've taken this D2C route, do you think that, there are challenges to scale with this strategy? And what do you think of subscription models for this? How does that work? And if you could just throw some light on this aspect.
I think there are challenges to scale because building a consumer brand itself calls for enormous amounts of capital investment. And building a brand, managing the supply chain, especially third-party manufacturing, and at the same time also make sure that people start coming and digitally buy from you on your own website or through WhatsApp. I think there are too many complex moving parts to deal with at the same time. So getting all of them right and still scale rapidly will be a challenge. So we are fairly clear that as and when the situation of the COVID eases, we would continue to focus on the B2B offline retailer, online retailer part while building this. So, it's not that we are moving completely away to D2C. It has some advantages, but there's another challenge that happens here, which is, you have to reach out to enormous amounts of customers very quickly. So on the face of it, it looks as if D2C is cheaper because you're going direct and all of that. But I think for small brands at the initial level, the quick surge will come through third-party other retailers. So I think it's a very interesting play as we go direct to consumer. Subscription model, I think, has its set of own challenges, and it looks very sexy. It sounds very sexy, right? We're doing subscription model, but I think it requires people to wholeheartedly, loyally sign up to consume your product on a regular basis. And I'm not sure it's a hurdle that certainly we've not crossed, and I'm not sure how many brands have crossed. So will we attempt subscription model? We may. We may simply because like any decent marketer, we would attempt everything on the table. Whatever is there, we'll try everything. Sometimes what happens is we think this is what consumers will do, but in almost all cases, consumers do exactly something differently. And because we don't want to second guess the customer, we will continue to test everything, including subscription model. But my take at this point in time, having not tested subscription model, is that it's a hard hurdle to cross because you're basically working on a foundation that customers have wholeheartedly subscribed to consumer product regularly. I think that's a huge challenge. So my view is we'll try it. Very, very difficult to succeed. And, the fact of the matter is we're all selling food and beverage products. We're selling 30, 40, 50, 60 rupee products. How many people will actually come to your own website and start subscribing for 50 rupee bottles to buy 5 days a week? So that's 250 rupees. I mean, there's too much of a pain, right? I mean, they'll just go and buy it off an Amazon or a big basket, right? And thereby, you have to link your subscription with a third-party retailer, which adds a completely different layer. So, like I said, I'm not very convinced or excited about it, but sure, we'll give it a shot.
Thank you so much. This space and creation of these new brands, consumer brands, definitely is a space worth watching. And all of you on this panel, all my personal favorite brands. Actually, I've used all the brands here represented by all of you. And thank you so much for being part of this. And definitely conversations around this we will continue doing on our SMB story. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to everybody else. All the very best.
Thank you, guys.